Children's Hospital. Doesn't feel fantastic to say. And by the way, it was Olisile, incredibly talented, together with the Parktown Girls Choir, alongside the Vuyani Outreach Kids, doing a opening number for you. This morning, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to celebrate an incredible milestone, the completion of the construction of the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital. My name is Prover, by the way. I'm going to be your host and MC for the morning. But also a very proud brand ambassador for the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital. So you can only imagine how proud I am to be here this morning as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this coming Monday the 5th also happens to be the day when we commemorate 3 years since the passing of our beloved Ndade, Nelson Mandela, who, of course, this was his dream. And what better way to celebrate his legacy than to celebrate our future, the children of this country. Before we go any further, if I may, please allow me to take time and acknowledge the following guests. Please join me and let's welcome the chairperson of the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital Trust, Mrs. Grasa Michelle. A big round of applause, please. The Minister of Health is also joining us, Dr. Aran Motoledi. Big round of applause. Retired chairperson of the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund and former Deputy Chief Justice Dikan Moseneke. The chairperson of the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, Justice Yvonne Mokoro. We also welcome all of our dignitaries, donors, and strategic partners, trustees of the Nelson Mandela Legacy organizations, particularly the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital Trust, and Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital, and of course, all of our VIPs today, and that is the children. A big round of applause there, please. Before we go any further, ladies and gents, just a couple of housekeeping pointers. Please make sure that your cell phones are on silent if you don't mind. I'll appreciate that a lot. Unfortunately, the venue does not allow smoking, but our car park also doubles as a smoking area, all right, if you wish to light one or two. Okay, you're welcome to do so. In fact, there's a joke I was questioning whether to throw it or not. And you know, they say, if you wish to smoke, take a left, right, go on, get into your car, take a right, head onto the highway, and go home. All right? Otherwise, we've got 9 emergency exits. Should there be an emergency, please calmly make your way to one of the exits. Otherwise, today is a celebration. We're going to try and keep it nice and light, nice and festive, and have a good time. You guys, everybody game? Wonderful. So without any further ado, let's welcome our entertainment. Please put your hands together for the Vuyani Outreach Children.
a world of potential. Their hopes, their dreams, their ambitions will form the basis of our future. But before they can fulfill their potential, it's our responsibility to make sure that they have a future. For every 1,000 children born in South Africa this year, 47 will lose their lives while still infants. 59 of them will have died before their 5th birthday. Research shows a backlog of 300 children awaiting surgery at just one Johannesburg hospital alone. South Africa needs a dedicated specialist hospital. Southern Africa needs this hospital.
Out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud.
This impossible, beautiful dream that is now becoming a reality, thanks to an inspired global leader and a dedicated father of all nations, who devoted his life to making the world a better place for all of us and our children, and whose spirit is with us today. In 1995, the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund was established to realize South Africa's then president's vision to change the way society treats its children and youth. To further this mandate, Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital Trust was established in 2009. The Trust and all those involved have made a massive commitment to bringing Nelson Mandela's dream to life with the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital. After many years of planning and preparation and 2 years of construction, work at the hospital has been completed. The foundations have been laid and the final stone has been placed. Today marks the end of one journey and the beginning of another. This specialist tertiary medical institution will soon be home to centers of excellence in hematology, oncology, pulmonology, cardiology, craniofacial treatments, renal treatments, nephrology, neurosciences, and general pediatric surgery. And not a single child who is in need of treatment here and who is appropriately referred will be turned away because they are unable to pay. Now begins the journey to fill the halls of this great building with the most talented and caring medical practitioners we can find, to bring color and light and softness and warmth to every corner of every room, to encourage a place where learning, understanding, knowledge, and compassion walk side by side, and to make this house of healing a home for all children. To every single organization, individual, and child who has been involved in making this dream a reality, we say to you today the most sincere thank you for everything you have done and for everything that can now be done because of you. Now our work can begin in earnest. Lives will be changed. Southern Africa will be transformed, and Madiba can look down on his legacy with pride.
We must reinforce humanity's belief in the human soul and act together for a glorious life for all.
It is indeed very inspiring to see that this dream has indeed become a reality. And for us to speak, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call on Ms. Zbongile Makavela, who we've all come to affectionately know as Mambongi. Now, she is very passionate. You know, she personally recruited me as an ambassador. How it happened was, I was interviewing Mambongi about the project, and she spoke so passionately. Within her first response, I wanted to know where I could sign up. So, Mambongi, please, I want you coming up come and evoke that fire within us. And I'm very keen to find out how you're feeling after the successful completion of the project. A big round of applause, please.
They are votes of our journey in reimagining this country. This is part of that journey. We are reimagining South Africa. I must honor my chairman, Mama Grosso Mashel, Bang Shen Naulu, that I was here with a big mission. The Minister, Honorable Lady, never failed to listen to us and hear what contribution we thought we could make. My boss, at the time, Deputy Chief Justice, you can see him, I know he's here, yes. I want to acknowledge him. My present boss, we can't report to two judges. My present boss, Judge Mokoro, thanks for being here. The MEC just left us, the MEC for Health and and the Honorable former Mayor of Johannesburg, Pakistan, thanks that you supported us a great deal as the Mayor of Johannesburg. We have many trustees, we have many players, we have many friends. In fact, just for a moment, and I know it's out of my script, I'd just like my trustees to stand and just take a bow because it's under their leadership. All the trustees of the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund and the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital. Thank you. Thank you very much. We are blessed to have men and women who give up their time in the manner in which the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital Board and the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund Board gives of their time and take nothing from us. We just wanted to give you the journey, a sense of where we started. We started with a thought, we started with an idea. And in Madiba's heart and many of the trustees, the idea of changing the way society treats children, which is an agenda that the Children's Fund had carried out at that time for 10 years, about 11, 12 years, and is now 21 years old. Feels great to be a 21-year-old that can give birth to this magnificent project. And this is the work of the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund. The Nelson Mandela Children's Fund started very hesitatingly, as it is correct, in getting involved. We started with a simple concept paper. We started with pre-feasibility. You know, pre-feasibilities sometimes are those things that executives like me do when we are not sure that our bosses are telling us to do the right thing. We do a pre-feasibility, and the pre-feasibility says, that's the right way to do. You're thinking the right way. Then we did a full feasibility study. And through all of those studies, part of the test whether this was a necessity or a luxury of a dream of an old man was also tested in how we raised funds. Funding for pre-feasibility studies, which was about less than 100,000 maybe, was the only funding, development funding that the Children's Fund did. Feasibility studies were funded by donors. Some of them are here. I saw those who headed Elma Philanthropies at the time, and they're here. They've traveled all the way from the US to be with us here today, and we're excited that they are present because they assisted us and organized other donors to help us just be certain that our feasibility is as tight and our research is as rigorous as it possibly could be. So when we invited many others, university, the Minister of Health, and many others, and we said, can we test this model? And many consultants, and you can see on the screens, many consultants that came and individuals who came and assisted the Children's Hospital Trust are all named there. I want to honor each and everyone who's shown there, because it's all people who believed in an idea. Once we'd done our studies, we started in earnest. We concluded our business case in 2012. And in 2012, we started in earnest our fundraising. And within a year, 2 years, we broke ground in 2012. In 2014, we said we will build in 18 to 24 months. We did, not by ourselves, but with all the other people who were there. We built this hospital and completed, indeed, in 2 years. In May 2016, we took control of the building from the contractor and started with equipment. Those who have been inside have seen the sophistication of the equipment in the building. And it's a contribution of many. The only way we could recognize them was to have them run down that screen so you see who the people who have anchored the hospital, the people who have contributed to the Children's Hospital are. We knew that if we tried to call them out by name, we would probably take the whole day, but we thought it'd be good to have them running. But I must acknowledge one family, and that's the Noortman family, because they came to us very early days. And Mr. Noortman was with his family. He just came to listen to the idea. Mr. Madiba was still around. And when he left, just before he left, after we spoke to him, we must have had 3 slides of an idea. And he stood up, and from his pocket, he took out $1 million. He did. The good thing is that his wife was with him and his children were with him. I think that's what starts family dedicated to care. Can the Noortman family please just stand? Because they've traveled from Holland to be with us today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. A year later, we received the sad news that Mr. Noortman had passed on. But he left with us this gift, this amazing gift. And I'm glad that his family has continued to support us, and we've continued to stay close to them as a family. Many other families have given a lot more, but what we celebrated and why I'm pointing it out is a man who put out $1 million because you said something that touched his heart. And at the core of this facility is a beating heart. So as we fix the hearts of children, Minister, we want to assure you it is with a feeling heart that we will do whatever we do. We are creating not only a center of excellence, but also a place where we express who we are as South Africans. Our giving nature, Ubuntu Betu, that we talk about so much, can be felt and experienced as you walk through the hospital. Then those who have walked through the hospital will understand what I mean. The other people I want to just recognize are the little ones who came with their piggy banks and they wanted to make a donation. And that created for Kids by Kids campaign, and children started giving. And so as you look at the facility you see today, know that part of the money comes from children. And Minister, I want to say, contrary to belief, South Africa is ready to recreate itself and reimagine itself. It is ready. This is one indication. We are a people who imagined ourselves free in the times when it was impossible to imagine that. We are now imagining our children getting first class, best service in the world. And we think this is going to be possible. And I think many of you, not those who are here today, because those who are here today are believers, many of the non-believers kept saying, but you know, this is Africa. Shouldn't we be looking at primary health care? And we said, yes. But the glass ceiling that we put up for poor people has to be broken. And the glass ceiling is that for the poor, we feed, we clothe, and we keep their basic health care. And we said we need to stretch. And this is evidence of stretch and the belief that ordinary South Africans have in themselves and their ability to build a facility that's all about their children. My role today was really to say what the journey has been. And that has been the journey. And on the screens you saw who are the people. That my core team, I have to recognize my core team. My core team, Mary Jane and them, where are you guys? I have a very small team. I think we're a team of about 10 at most. At most, you're a team of about 10. And our value and what we bring is not what we know technically, is but what we are able to do in convening, in facilitating, in seeing synergies where people see difference, in working through that difference until that difference becomes something that we all believe we can share. There is no exclusivity in this place. This morning was interesting. We had eNCA and SABC side by side, as we would have ABSA and Nedbank on the other side, the University of Witwatersrand and the University of Pretoria. It is in diversity that we found our strength, and our team is simply good at staying in there and ensuring that we get as much as we could out of the diversity of many. So really, you know, you are celebrating us, but we're really celebrating you. And today is for us to say thank you for trusting us to facilitate the birth of this hospital. And we hope as we go forward, others will step up as well and take on the leadership. We thank you very much. Thank you.
Mambongi, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Now, our next entertainer is a world-renowned, globe-trotting flautist whose latest offering, Winds of Samsara, won him, and he asked me backstage to please mention it, a Grammy Award in 2015, all right? Now, his next performance is dedicated to Madiba and is called The Long Road. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me and let's welcome Wouter Kellerman, joined by two dancers from Vuyani Dance Theatre. Big round of applause.
Thank you so much. I wrote this next piece for Nelson Mandela, trying to paint his life with the colors of the flute. It starts off with him growing up in his rural Transkei, where he was very close to nature and spent some time herding cattle. When I was writing this song, I was thinking about him sitting by his cattle, listening to the beautiful sounds of nature, which even then must have been tinged with a touch of sadness, showing what was to come in his life. In the next section, he moves to the city, and the peacefulness of nature makes space for the hustle and bustle of city life and a train of events that would take control of his life. And then in the last section, he retires, finally has time to be peaceful again and spend time with his family. The piece ends on an unfinished note, showing that even though his life is over, his memory and influence will carry on and sustain us far into the future.
Ladies and gentlemen, Wouter Kellerman, the Grammy Award-winning Wouter Kellerman. Incredible indeed. Folks, our former Deputy Chief Justice and retired chairperson of the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, Justice Dikgang Moseneke, was at the helm of the fund when the hospital was just an idea and a wish by Ntate Nelson Mandela to do more for our children. Now, just as he was keynote speaker at the groundbreaking event dinner in 2014, we invited him to reflect once again on this vision, which he was instrumental in bringing to life. Please join me and let's welcome Justice Dikgang Moseneke.
My brief is 10 minutes, 10. Sbongile? 10, right? And I'm going to try and be true to that. And to show you that I have no text. You know, judges write long texts. It's part of our job. It's in our job description. What you think, you write. Because everybody else wants to read what you think. I'm not doing that today. My life's journey makes me run into Nelson Mandela on Robben Island. I'm a young lad. He is my father's age. He has many, many more years to do life. I have only 10 to do. And I do 10 years, I come out, he remains for 17 years on Robben Island whilst I am out here. Many things happen, our roads converge again, and he says, Dechang, Danam, children are central to my life, and we've got to do something about this. He finds Irene Menel, Irene's husband, a number of South Africans, and he draws them from just about all shades and persuasions in South Africa and sets up the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund. He emphasizes his global embrace of humanism, the love for human beings, and sets that in motion to try and protect and help us rethink, Bongi, to think again how we're going to relate to children. And if you look at his history, this must sit quite central. He moves, he's young, he goes to live with his uncle. That's where he grows up and where he finds strength. He comes to Johannesburg. So his whole life was also about a family arrangement that was not always ideal at all times. And we agree, and we become the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund. Mama Grasha, you remember how every morning when we had the annual function where we brought children out, just how he burst into complete smile, complete ecstasy. And he was so true to that cause, so central to it. And Bongi, he goes down this route, Yvonne, and you've had a lot of that, now our esteemed leader at the foundation. And he comes to this idea, as you heard from Bongi. I'm not going to trace the history. It is known. It's unnecessary for me to do that. There are two things I want to say and sit down. Besides it having been a pleasure to be invited by somebody of his stature to come and lead what he loved so dearly, together with fellow trustees. Massive privilege. He comes to the idea that something much larger must be made. We find Bongi, and I remember interviewing Sbongile. We needed a CEO. Dita, are you going to make it, Sisi? And I was the first to rise in the standing ovation because you have been wonderful. You've been amazing. And we found Mama Grasha to lead the trust, the hospital trust, together with all the wonderful South Africans who have come in. If he were here, he would have said, Ndiabulela, Ndiabulela. And I want to arrogate to myself that duty to say it on his behalf, because he had asked me to do so many things in his life. When he had a moment of crisis, for some reason, I was the one he would call up. And Mama, I remember with pain, and we've done this to coincide with that, as you phoned me that night when Tata was gasping, as Bongi was looking for me all over in order to be there, as you were there, as family was there, because I had the singular privilege of being part of the big projects in his life, continuing now as his executor with Tata George in Tata's husband. So I think it's quite appropriate for me on his behalf to say to all of you, to the donors, to all who have worked around this, to the Children's Fund, to the Children's Hospital Trust, to Wits University, who made the land available to us. Adam Habib, thank you ever so much. All the School of Medicine at Wits, who were all around the project. I saw some of our professors here. Thank you ever so much. And here it is a reality, and it's going to work. Last thought. This is a great country. We're going through a wobble. Minister? We need men and women of courage. We need men and women of vision. The struggle is far longer than a term of one leader. It's a great struggle. It's glorious. It struggles over centuries. When you have a long, difficult journey and you hit a bad patch, or you have a transatlantic flight, have you felt those? At some point over the sea, they go wild. It's a bad patch. You buckle up, but you continue with the journey. And this hospital is a reminder to all of us that there's place for hard work, there's place for excellence, there's place for honesty, there's place for doing good things, there's place for giving and not taking, for giving. And that's what Rolihlahla Mandela represented, giving, giving, giving. I lived close to him. He would never, he was president, say, Dehan, let's get some money from Treasury. He never did that. Minister, he would say, Dehan, I'm going to all those many states in the Middle East. They seem to have a lot of money. And then he comes back in the morning and I go to the house in his overcoat. Somehow he went always when it's winter. He had checks and checks, Bongile. And he'd give me the checks and I go and give them to Ahmad or to Ratliff or to you, Bongi. Lots of checks, but he can't remember which prince of which Bahrain or gave him the checks. So we could never go and write to them and say, the most high, mighty prince of where, thank you for the $5 million. By the time we were done, we had an endowment of 800 million, Bongile. There was Nelson Mandela collecting to give to others. And he never took the money in his pocket. And I can show you. Finally, we have decided the journey will be a just, democratic, inclusive, and socially just, I must add, society. There are a few potholes and a bit of challenge on the road, Minister. But the journey is still good. And that's why 2 days ago in Khayelitsha, young people said to me, Nelson Mandela sold out. And I said, Mandabam, just back off and listen to me, just one moment. True revolutions are never linear. They meander, they curve, they go in different ways. In 1994, we managed to get political freedom, led by Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. And it behoves us, Minister, and all our leaders to understand that we've got to deepen the gains of that transition in 1994. And one of the best ways is to give, and this is why this hospital is here, to remind us that we must give, particularly to our children. God bless and thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Justice Dikgang Moseneke. Class act indeed. And I'll have you know, sir, you only spoke for 8 minutes, so we still owe you 2. But we'll chat about it afterwards. I would now like, ladies and gentlemen, to invite onto the stage some partners of the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital to please come and say a few words on this wonderful occasion. If I may please insist that you come up in this particular order. Please welcome Dr. David Allen, the Deputy Director of Southern Africa for Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Big round of applause, please. Wasim Ahmad, International Programs Director for Islamic Relief Worldwide. Professor Adam Habib, Vice Chancellor, Wits University. Big round of applause. And another round of applause, please, for Joe Scantleberry, VP Programs, W.K. Kellogg Foundation. Let's give him an opportunity to say a word or two.
Mrs. Michelle, members of the Mandela family, members of the Michelle family, Dr. Moseneke, Honorable Minister of Health, other national, provincial, and local government officials, the CEO of the Nelson Mandela Hospital, Bongi Makabela, trustees of the National Mandela Children's Hospital, and esteemed guests, good morning. This is a wonderful day. I'm very honored to represent Bill and Melinda Gates at this very special and important occasion. Bill and Melinda have had the honor and privilege of meeting President Mandela and Mrs. Michelle on many occasions and have expressed their admiration for both of them, for their leadership and dedication to all the people of South Africa and especially to the nation's children. The relationship between the Gates Foundation and President Mandela is a long-standing one, and I remember accompanying Bill Gates Sr., President Jimmy Carter, as well as President Mandela on a trip to South Africa that focused on HIV/AIDS over a decade ago. At that time, President Mandela exhibited a strong interest in HIV as a development challenge for South Africa. Given this history, the friendship they shared and their common goals, both Bill and Melinda very much regret not being here today. But beyond the esteem that they had for President Mandela, they have several reasons for contributing to this important effort. First, one of the goals of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is to support efforts to ensure that women and newborns survive and remain healthy during pregnancy and childbirth. In that not only that children survive, but that they thrive and that they become healthy adults. Secondly, we support efforts to develop innovative tools, technologies, and treatments to improve the quality of healthcare services, especially to those in need. This hospital, which will be a referral facility and center of excellence for children's care, directly relates to this vision and core principle of the Gates Foundation, that children and adolescents have the right to develop and be healthy and productive adults. As a pediatrician myself, who trained at a children's hospital in Washington, D.C., I've learned firsthand about the importance of specialist care and that children's needs are different from adults. This is why both Bill and Melinda are honored to be invited to contribute to this effort and to ensure that President Mandela's vision for better health care is a reality. South Africa is an important country for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and we have many investments here in HIV and TB, including research into pneumonia, which is an important cause of child mortality. This foundation is pleased to partner with the many organizations, adults, and especially children that have supported this effort. And through these collective efforts, we believe that today marks an important milestone in President Mandela as well as Mrs. Michelle's vision for improved health care. Like President Mandela, Bill and Melinda understand that an investment in children and youth is an investment in our future. When young people's health is optimized, their lives improved in every way, not only for themselves, but for their family, for their communities, and for the nation. President Mandela once said that it gives me great pleasure to be surrounded by beautiful children of our land. Whenever I am with energetic young people, I feel like a recharged battery. confident that our country can look forward to great things, end quote. Nelson Mandela believed that now, and the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital will provide us with the opportunity to prove this. I thank you.
Thank you. Distinguished ministers, trustees, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, and our VIPs, our dear children. For all of them, we are here for. I have privilege and honor to represent Islamically Worldwide family to talk about how this journey started for us and how much we believe in this cause. And that led us to where we are now today. 1 year ago, I visited this site. And to be honest, I was thrilled to see after a year and 1 year and exactly 1 month and 10 days, that to see this structure right in front of my eyes. Well done to all who involved in this, in South Africa, across the continent, everywhere. And well done, Bongi. Thank you very much. With regards to Islamic Relief, I'm sure most of you probably are aware of, because in South Africa, at your doorstep, we've been working for years. But Islamic Relief is a global family of countries in America, the Great America, Canada, in Europe, and all got together when we discussed this, that we need to support this project, because we believe that Nelson Mandela is not just father of a nation in South Africa, but father of the whole world. And the message that he gave to the world is truly for all of us. And that's the reason that our family within Islamic Relief came together to truly support this noble cause. Islamic Relief went to support up to $8 million funding for the oncology unit, because we believe children with cancer in South Africa, there are 40% children, they don't get to the specialized facility. As Bongi clearly said that, what primary health? Yes, but what about next? Whether the specialist facility is just for few who can afford? No, it should be for all the children. Our children today is our future. And we truly believe as an organization, as Islamic Relief, when we look back in our own courtyard in the UK, where there are 20 specialist hospitals for under 16, 12.3 million children, 20 specialized hospitals, and the whole continent of Africa, only 4. What a shame for all of us. Children in Africa need these specialized facilities, such as this Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital. Islamic Relief decided to associate with this project and partner with this great foundation, this trust, to help all people all over the world to bring this dream to reality. And I'm proud to say that, our affiliates in United States, Germany, UK, they are represented here. They said to me and to my CEO, my boss, that we are with you. Because Nelson Mandela is a personality for all. And we want to take this mission forward. Islamic Relief wish Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital all the best in the future for a successful journey ahead, because mission has just started. It's just a beginning, we truly believe. And we want to see that, this center of excellence continues to serve the mission and the vision that Madiba thought about it years ago. We want to see this in true realization. Well done to all. Thank you very much.
Sombaba Mashal, Minister Motsoaledi, Chancellor Dikhan Moseneke. You'll see I'm not referring him to as the former Deputy Chief Justice. We're claiming him. He's Chancellor of Wits University, Dikhan Moseneke. Judge Mohoro, dignitaries, friends and colleagues. It's a very special moment. At Wits we've had a rough year, as you know. But the last 48 hours has been fantastic. Yesterday we finished the examinations at Wits University.
We are happy.
And today, we're part of this launch of the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital. Now, we've been with the trust working from day one. The reason we've been party to this is because effectively, not only were we providing it, not only were we assisting in the building of a fantastic facility for children of South Africa, we were fulfilling the dream of not only an alumnus of WITS, not only the leader and the father of democratic South Africa, but one of humanity's greatest sons. And you know that we've given land. Our professors have been involved in the planning. Some of our officials have been involved in the actual governance processes associated with this. And we've been particularly proud to be part of this initiative. We're particularly proud that we will continue engaging with this initiative. Because not is it only going to provide fantastic clinical services, it's also going to ensure that this is one of the premier places for the training of specialist pediatricians on the African continent. It's also going to do great research. And all of this is important to ensure what Bongi suggested, that actually poor people, as much as rich people, have access to premier facilities of healthcare on the African continent. And that is why we will participate in it. You know, I live opposite here. And Bongi will tell you every night, as the bricks were laid down, and as the building grew, and as the lights started coming on, I would phone her and say, why are the lights on in the place? Don't you know we have an energy crisis? And so I want to say to Bongi, going forward, I want to make sure that the lights are on, that they have to be on. And so I want to end by saying one thing. And I want to thank three people in particular. Mama Greshal, your leadership in this has been fantastic. It would never have happened without you. Minister Motsoaledi, your own leadership in this has been fantastic. And it shows what can happen when state and civil society come together to fulfill an end for the betterment of humanity. And my final thanks goes to Tata Madiba. From the heavens, in this very, very difficult moment in South Africa, he sends a message. And his message is as follows with the birth of this hospital. It always seems impossible until it's truly done. And that message reverberates not only for this hospital, but for this very difficult moment in this country. Thank you very, very much.
Ooh, wow. I must say, being the last of four is very difficult, and yet very easy. Chairwoman Michelle, Minister Mabongi, thank you for allowing us at the W.K. Kellogg Foundation to be a small part of this project, this vision. Thank you. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to take a very long flight, to be up last night in anxiety, just excited to come here this morning. And on behalf of our chair and president, Lejeune Montgomery Tabron, and our board, to actually come and see a vision made real. In philanthropy, we get to invest a few things every now and then, but you never know exactly what's going to happen. You're never really sure. You're not sure exactly what's going on, particularly if you don't live here. But we never had doubt in what you all were doing here. You were taking on something that speaks to the heart of our foundation, and that is the belief that all children can thrive, that all children can prosper, and that all children are deserving of that opportunity. You have made that a reality. And our hope is that others will see, appreciate, and emulate what you're doing here. I've been to South Africa a few times, and each time I come, my heart is filled. My soul is fed. And that young man dancing on this stage leaped into his brother's arm. I was transported to 1976. When I was a child, with my grandfather, reading the papers in Panama and learning about Soweto and seeing the imagery. And that image spoke to me today. And to know that children are being prepared to continue the revolution with all of its twists and turns. And that professionals are being prepared to administer great health. And to know that philanthropic partners from around the globe stand with you. All I can say is thank you for allowing us to be a part of that. Thank you.
A big thank you to some of our partners there for the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to invite you now to please cast your eyes to the screen. We have a very special message. Let's hear from Eric Samson, founder of Max Steel Group and personal friend of Madiba.
Honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately I cannot be with you today at this very auspicious occasion. But I want you to know that Sheila and myself are with you in the spirit. Also, I'd like to thank my son-in-law, Stephen Cohen, for representing me there today, and Mike Honeyball, who is my protector for my trusts. I would also like to congratulate Bongi and her team for the wonderful work she did over the years to ensure that the Mandela Children's Hospital would be a success. And I'm sure you're all going to enjoy the day with the official opening. To all of you, good luck for the future. And I'd like to thank very much everybody for what they've done towards this project. Sheila and myself have had pleasure in donating the pediatric division to the hospital, and I'm sure it will be put to great use in the future. Thank you, one and all. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Fantastic indeed. Now, Mr. Joe Scantlebury referred to some dancing, so I think it's only right that I invite back onto the stage the Vuyani Dance Company, which, by the way, is an internationally renowned contemporary dance company. Please join me and let's welcome the Vuyani Dance Company. the Vuyani Dance Company, who I think I'm going to join, you know. Do you know what I mean? Like if this doesn't work out. Also because they all seem to have six-packs, which is an important thing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please join me now to introduce the Health Minister, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi. Let's welcome onto the stage the chairperson of the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital. Please welcome Mr. Putuma Nhleko. Big round of applause, please. Thank you.
Afternoon. Ms. Gracia Michelle, former Deputy Chief Justice Moseneke, and Justice Mohoro. I think I should say all protocol observed. Mine is a very simple one. As chairman of the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital, you know, the honor and the weight of the burden of introducing the Minister of Health, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, to this very, very distinguished audience really is, I guess, some of the delicate ironies of life. It's the unknown introducing the known. But notwithstanding, I should say that my involvement in this project was really very much due to the enormous persuasion powers of Ms. Bongi Mkabela. I think she was exceptionally impassioned, and after the very enlightened lecture that you get from her, delivered with almost evangelic zeal, you realize at the end that actually you've actually got no choice in the matter. So I was very honored by that invitation, and if just for good measure, being persuaded by one strong lady was not sufficient, she then invited Nana Mahamola and Ms. Gracia Michelle to talk to me as well. So it was 3-0 at the end of all of that. And indeed, I should say that Bongi has been the absolute epicenter of this project, beyond question, with her alter ego, Mos Ngwasheng, who's sitting over there. I think the two of them need a serious round of applause. Yeah. Of course, it would really be totally amiss if I didn't share with you that the long-term viability of the hospital is not sustainable, and in fact, it's inconceivable without the support of the Department of Health. And on really behalf of the board of the hospital, I'd like to convey our very, very deep gratitude for the role that the Department of Health has played. And I think it is therefore fitting really at this juncture for me to call upon Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi to share with us, who I guess doesn't need any much introduction. I heard, Tekang, your comments about wobbles. The minister is in full force and standing here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nhleko, for introducing me. Mama Gracia Michelle, Trust Chairperson, former Deputy Chief Justice, Re Dikgang Moseneke, and Judge Yvonne Mohoro, our religious leaders, Archbishop Thabo Makgoba, and Bishop Barnabas Lekhanyane, former First Lady, Me Zanele Mbeki, Vice Chancellor, of the University of Witwatersrand, Professor Habib, one of the most important stakeholders, and the CEO of Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, Ms. Bongi Mkhabela, the celebrant today. I'm not very sure how you feel. Thank you very much for the very kind invitation for me to participate in this historic occasion. It is a very auspicious day. It's an auspicious day for both the memory of Madiba and the children of South Africa and the region. I wish to remind us how Tata Mandela loved children with two quotes. The first one in his book, Conversations with Myself. He wrote, "I love playing and chatting with children, feeding and putting them to bed with a little story, and being away from the family has troubled me throughout my life." The second quote, in an interview with Oprah Winfrey, he said, "Not seeing them may be why I've developed an obsession with children. I miss seeing them. I miss seeing any of them for 27 years. It's one of the most severe punishments prison life can impose, because children are the most important asset in a country. For them to become that asset, they must receive education and love from their parents. And when you are in jail, you are unable to give those things to your children," close quotes. I'm sure that wherever Madiba is, he's looking down on us, and I may equally be sure that he will have been preferred of all places today to be with us here today. I'm also sure that he will have been very proud of the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, as well as the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital Trust, who have worked tirelessly to raise funds for the erection of this beautiful building. In the same vein, I wish to thank our wonderful and generous donors, without whom we will not have been able to realize Madiba's dream. And I think we owe these dedicated people a very heavy round of applause, please. I'm sure that most of us share the love of children, regardless of nationality, race, gender, or any dimension that you can think of. The care of children matters to all of us. Sadly, today, there are millions of children around the world that are not cared for adequately. It is a global crisis, and one that can only get worse if men and women of your caliber don't stand up to be counted. According to the United Nations Children's Fund, there are an estimated 151 million children worldwide with either one or both parents dead. In South Africa, as we know, the figure is 1.3 million. It makes these children vulnerable, especially when they get ill and need specialized care. This pediatric hospital is sadly only the fourth such on the whole continent of Africa. Besides the Red Cross Children's Hospital in Cape Town, there are two of these type of hospitals in Egypt. Needless to say, the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital is the newest and the most advanced. Yes, please, give it a cheer. Don't be embarrassed. Give it a cheer. It's the most advanced. The Red Cross Children's Hospital was opened 60 years ago. The situation on our continent, unfortunately, compares dismally to the developed world. As I'm mentioning that this is only the fourth hospital, I'm not very sure. I didn't check very well. I was told that there might be one in Kenya, then that will make them 5. But at the moment, we believe there are 4. What is the score in the rest of the world? There are 23 such hospitals in Canada alone, 19 in Australia alone, 20 in Germany alone, 157 in the United States. We are on our 4th one on the whole continent. Given his love for children, it is not surprising that Madiba was a strong advocate for a hospital that provides health services to children. He said children have the right to be cared for and to receive the best treatment that is available when they are ill, irrespective of their economic and social status. I might like to visit this topic later if I still get time. A children's hospital will be a credible demonstration of the commitment of African leaders to place the rights of children at the forefront. Nothing less will be enough, close quotes. The Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital has been designed to achieve this vision. We also acknowledge that the true wealth of this world rests in the well-being of our children. Madiba surely knows today that many people, especially those that have contributed to this beautiful hospital, agreed with him on the need to build this hospital that now proudly bears his name, and rightly so. The Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital will play a pivotal role in achieving the goals, especially with respect to highly specialized services for children in South Africa and the region. This hospital will be classified as a central hospital. There are only 10 of them in the country. Those classified as central because of their relationship with our medical schools, and this will be the 11th one. It's not only going to treat children, but it's going to be very important for ongoing training in conditions that affect children, as well as to ensure access to research, to assist to solve the health problems that are unique to children, to increase childhood survival and decrease infant and child mortality. Besides providing highly specialized services, this hospital will also be used to train specialist health professionals. This arises from the fact that access to highly specialized health services is often limited by availability of suitably trained specialists, including pediatric nurses and allied health professionals, as well as availability of high-level equipment and appropriate infrastructure. And as you will know, in terms of equipment and infrastructure, this hospital is world-class. South Africa, like most countries on the continent, has a need for additional specialist nurses, such as pediatric nurses, neonatal nurses, and intensive care nurses. The Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital Trust has already embarked on an extensive program to train such specialist nurses, and I believe this will continue. Generally, in South Africa, because of our dubious distinction as the most unequal society in the world, generally, 80% of the specialists in this country are there to serve only 16% of the population. But when it comes to children, what is the score? We only have 10 pediatric cardiologists registered with the Health Professions Council in South Africa. And these 10 pediatric cardiologists are there to serve both the public and the private sector. There are only three pediatric clinical hematologists for both public and private sector, only 5 developmental pediatricians, only 10 pediatric clinical care specialists, and 7 pediatric oncologists in the whole country. And I have already confessed that 80% of these specialists serve only 16% of the population. It is therefore obvious that when it comes to specialized services for children, there is a great unmet need that needs to be addressed. And let me tell you, children are not small adults, as many of you might come to believe. Medically speaking, they've got very different physiological needs than to those of adults. So they need specialties that are special to them. And the figures I've given you, I'm sure, will disturb every right-thinking person. But I'm happy today to note that in this hospital, there are 48 critical care beds for these children. Why this is important is because, according to the norms from the World Health Organization, 8 to 12% of beds in a hospital must be dedicated to critical care. And in South Africa, we are averagely still at 4%. And this hospital is clear that it's reaching 16%. And it's one of the things to applaud. So this hospital is going to assist us to fill many gaps. A hospital such as Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital is an opportunity to establish a center of excellence that will not only address the essential services. Thank you. Yes, I'm thoroughly intimidated. My mouth is dry. Excuse me, it's an opportunity to establish a center of excellence that will not only address essential service need, but will also serve as a measure of the standard that can and should be achieved in all the health services that we provide. This I told to Bongi many times, that whatever they are doing, we are watching very carefully, because we are going to learn from Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital how to manage all the other hospitals. The South African government has a fundamental interest in the success of this hospital. And Mr. Nhleko, you said this hospital will not be successful without the support of the Department of Health. I want to stand here in front of you and tell you that you have got that support and you are going to get it forever. On the day the sword was turned for the building of this hospital, I could not attend when Tata Madiba was turning the sword. I sent my late Deputy Minister, Dr. Mulifisi Fularo, and I gave him very clear instructions that go and tell Tata that we are going to support him 100%, wholeheartedly. And I'm not about to change from that. We'll still do so. More so, as Bongi knows, the only way that all children of the region can be able to utilize this hospital and have access is when the government is there to support. Otherwise, they will need money to come in, and we know many of them do not have. So this relates not only to access to highly specialized services as a center of excellence, but also, as I've said, as a center of operational efficiency. Government has been working with the Children's Hospital Trust to look at developing a governance model for this hospital. Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa asked me a question one day. He said, Minister, please explain to me, this Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital, what type of animal is it? Where does it fit in what we are doing? Is it a private hospital? Is it a public hospital? What is it? I said, it's a new animal we have never seen before in the country, Deputy President. And I said, it is very exciting because I'm looking at how this animal is going to serve, because we might have to turn all the other hospitals in the country into this type of animals. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me before sitting down to touch on a very important topic. And I tipped Mama Grasa Machel that I'm going to come to it. The problem in healthcare around the whole world is not only a problem of lack of facilities, it's a problem of lack of access, even in areas where there are facilities. And it has been happening for ages, for the simple reason that the financing of healthcare in 90% of the world is not in favor of those who need it. And these are women, children, and the poor. They are classified together for obvious reasons. Yes, if you check from a developing country to the most undeveloped country on this planet, healthcare financing is in favor of those who are well-to-do. Even in the public sector, healthcare financing is not in favor of the poor, it's always in favor of the rich. The time that must change has arrived. And I was very proud when last year, among the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, one of those goals was universal health coverage. And I'm dead sure that many people don't understand what it is. I want to take this opportunity to read this one sentence. It's goal number 3.8 on the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. It said we must achieve universal health coverage, including financial risk protection, access to quality essential healthcare services, and access to safe, effective, quality, and affordable essential medicines and vaccines for all. This is what this goal number 3.8 on the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. It has been variously described by prominent people in very glorious terms. The Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Margaret Chan, she says if this is achieved, it will be an equalizer between the rich and the poor. One of the best known equalizers between the rich and the poor is universal health coverage. The editor of The Lancet, the prestigious British medical journal, Richard Horton, he says it's going to be the only third transition in healthcare. He argues that ever since human beings populated this planet, healthcare has had only 3 transitions. The first one was when clean running water, sanitation, and sewerage was introduced to the world. It might seem unimportant to you, but it changed healthcare systems around the world irreversibly and changed populations and dropped high mortality rates. The second transition, he says it happens in the 20th century, is vaccinations, when we don't wait for people to get sick, but vaccinate them to prevent them from getting sick. He now says the third transition is going to be how healthcare is financed. Can it be financed also for the poor? That is what universal health coverage is going to try to do. Somebody asked him, he said, no, but what about the huge innovations, like the first heart transplant, which was performed in Cape Town in 1967 by Professor Christian Barnard? And the answer is, yes, that was a great innovation, but it's not a transition. For transitions, don't change individuals. They change populations and the whole world. And that's why we believe universal health coverage is going to change that. Now, the reason that this is relevant today is because it's another legacy of Madiba. I'm sure you are aware. The universal health coverage, which United Nations say we must establish, is called NHI in South Africa. It is attacked every day, left, right, and center, by those who don't want to change. Even those who are in the media, I still don't know what their agenda is, but any small thing that happens in the plan for universal health coverage that goes wrong is a big celebration in most parts of the media. Why should that happen? I want to quote from this document, which I also want to regard as Madiba's legacy. As you know, Tata Madiba in 2007 put together a group of elders who he said had collective experience and influence for peace, justice, and human rights worldwide. This group of elders, as you know, are chaired by Kofi Annan. There's Gro Harlem Brundtland, Marty Atisari, Ella Bat, Lakma Brahimi, Fernando Henrique Cardoso, Jimmy Carter, Hina Gilani, our own Mama Graça Machel, Mary Robinson, Ernesto Zedillo, and Archbishop Desmond Tutu as an honorary elder. In May this year, they produced this booklet to guide world leaders on how to implement universal health coverage around the world, despite the massive resistance who are well-to-do. Now, I can't go through this booklet, but I'm tempted to read one paragraph for you. They say universal health coverage generates other benefits to societies far beyond health sector. For example, it stimulates economic growth, facilitates educational gains, empowers women, and reduces poverty associated with healthcare costs. In September 2015, 267 eminent economists from 44 countries signed an economist declaration on universal health coverage, which concluded that the economic returns on investing in universal health coverage were more than 10 times the costs. But here in South Africa, in all mainstream media, they will tell you how impossible this venture is, how it's going to collapse the economy, how it is madness, how it will never happen. But they go on, the elders go on to say, but the area often overlooked by the health community is that by increasing social solidarity, universal health coverage can also build peace and security in countries and deliver substantial political benefits to states. This has been recognized by the Chinese government, whose former health minister said that their primary motivation for implementing universal health coverage reforms was to build a more harmonious society, close quotes. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is what some people are fighting. As I'm standing here in front of you, former Deputy Chief Justice, there are men and women, prominent South Africans, who are putting together the best legal minds this country can ever produce to present a case to stop universal health coverage of NHI in the Constitutional Court from ever taking off. What type of world is this we are living in? I've just informed you, and it's also in this document, that when universal health coverage is implemented, the first beneficiaries are going to be women, children, and adolescents. Because when healthcare is favored, is financed in favor of the rich, it is women, adolescents, and children who will suffer because they always remain the poorest in any part of the world. So when we do it for them. And ladies and gentlemen, these are not accidents. These are not accidents. It is how the world is structured. And me and you need to stand up and change that. How do I describe, as I'm standing here in front of you, that with all the developments in the world, and I'm not sure whether you're going to believe this, TB has overtaken HIV/AIDS in 2014 as the biggest infectious disease killer in the whole world. In 2015 alone, it killed 1.8 million people globally. And 170,000 of them are children. But are you going to believe if I'm telling you now that in the whole world, there's not a single country which has got pediatric formulations for children for TB? When a child suffers TB, we literally break down an adult pill or tablet to make small pieces to feed these children. In this era and time, that is still happening. Because, why? Pharmaceutical companies don't regard children as important because they've got no money. That remains a fact. These are painful facts, but we need to face them. And we believe only universal health coverage will come and solve this problem. And so, Mama Graça Machel, I want you and the elders to make sure that you visit all world leaders to make them understand that if there's no universal health coverage, all the dreams we have had will never be realized. There have been lots of dreams around the world about health. We had international conventions, universal declarations of human rights. We have got the Alma Ata Declaration signed by the World Health Organization in 1978 in the small town of the then Soviet Union, the small town of Alma Ata, which said health for all. We have the Nightingale Pledge by nurses. We have got the Hippocratic Oath signed by doctors. Regardless of all those pledges, when you are sick, the manner in which you'll be taken care of depends on the depth of your pocket rather than your health needs. And I was very proud, Bongi, when I was coming this way, another Bongi was interviewing you. And he asked you what children are going to enter this hospital. And you said they are going to enter according to their needs, not according to the depth of their pocket. And that is what universal health coverage is all about. And that is what Madiba will have liked. And that is why this legacy of the elders, I also regard it as the legacy of Madiba. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Health Minister, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi. And a big thank you as well to Mr. Phuthuma Nhleko, the chairperson of the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital. I would now like to invite a fellow ambassador to come and join me onto the stage. Now, I'll let you know he's been a part of many of the hospital's projects, helping us get the momentum that we've finally achieved. He's the current Summer Award winner 2016 for Best Pop. Please get ready to sing along, performing Never Let Me Go, my good friend Treasure.
and the stars that shine for you. Yes, it's true, you make this world beautiful. See the moon and the stars that shine for you. Yes, it's true, you make this world beautiful, yeah. See the moon and the stars that shine for you. Yes, it's true, you make this world beautiful. And everything about you set me up there. Something about you that I can't explain. And if I was without you, it was long ago. Don't wanna live without you, so never let me go. I never let me go. Never let me go. I never let me go. I never let you let me go. I never let me go. Never let me go. I never let me go. I never let you let me go. Thank you very much.
Award winner, Treasure. Treasure, you know that the hospital is going to have an internal radio station. And I think we should get you for one of those interviews and maybe an acoustic live performance or something, ne? All right, we'll get it to working. Folks, to now introduce our keynote speaker, Mrs. Graça Michelle, please join me and let's welcome the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital Trust Deputy Chairperson, Ms. Nana Mahomola. Big round of applause, please.
Good afternoon. Do you guys still remember that today it's a celebration? It's a time to be happy. I don't know if I'm the only one who, if you remember the first presentation where there was a singer and the young kids dancing, am I the only one who saw Mr. Mandela there with a smile doing the Mandela dance? I'm sure you all saw him. Let me take this opportunity to acknowledge the religious leaders, Archbishop Makgoba and Bishop Lekganyane. Also to acknowledge the chairperson of the trust, Mayor Graça Michelle, Minister Motsoaledi, former chair of the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, former Deputy Chief Justice Moseneke, and of course the current chair of the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, Justice Mokgoro, and of course the CEO, the celebrant you're called today, the sister who worked so hard on this project. But of course it's important for me to acknowledge the trustees who have worked long hours to make this thing a reality. I have been asked to introduce, but I will not, but I will present to you Mrs. Graça Michelle. Some people describe her as a politician or a humanitarian, a children and gender activist. But she's also a chair of the Partnership for Maternal, Newborn, and Child Health. This partnership has a mandate to engage, align, and hold accountable stakeholders to improve the health and well-being of women, newborns, children, and adolescents. This is what Minister Motsoaledi spoke about. I'm going to need some water. She's also founder of the Graça Michelle Trust. This trust is a catalyst for working across the continent for positive change in 3 fronts: women's rights, children's rights, governance, and leadership. They support the local initiatives. They don't go in there and change. They support the local initiative. Can I get some water? Late President Mr. Mandela had a dream of building a children's hospital which will be a legacy. It is understandable that when he thought of the chair of the hospital trust, Gracia Machel will be one, because he knew that with her on board, his legacy of building a first-class. Yes, I do. Nobody's giving me water. He knew that with the leadership of Mrs. Machel, this dream of building this amazing hospital that we've spoken about, where no child will be turned away because they cannot afford, will become a reality. Indeed, she took on the challenge. And of course, we were guided in a very specific way, gently by Mrs. Machel. The journey has been very long. Trying to raise funds has been almost a nightmare, because we did this during a period where you all know the economy was not doing. So South Africans were not off the hook. Our friends internationally, we still need some more money, because you know that this is a philanthropic hospital. So we do not want to get to a stage where, yes, indeed, government is going to help in terms of operations of the hospital, but we still need more money to make sure that we can continue getting children into this hospital. Mrs. Machel says of her husband, and I'm going to quote, "I lost my best friend, beloved husband, and a guide. It was fortunate that in Madiba, I found a soulmate, a fellow advocate for children and women's rights. I'm inspired by his rich legacy that promotes justice, compassion, and solidarity. Children were very dear to Madiba," she continues, "and his last wish was to build the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital." And she finally says, "It is my dream too, and a wish that it can be realized in my lifetime." Can we applaud the fact that indeed it's happening in your lifetime? Ladies and gentlemen, can you put your hands together? And I think at this point, a standing ovation for as we bring Mrs. Machel onto the podium.
Let me start by acknowledging a presence which may not be visible, but it has been with us ever since we started this ceremony. Tata, welcome to be with us today. Honorable Minister of Health, Dr. Motsoaledi, the Hang, as I call you, the Minister, the MSc of Health in Gauteng, I think she has left. My dear trustees of both the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund and the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital Trust, ambassadors, religious leaders, our friends, donors, partners, and stakeholders, and more especially, children. The Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital is a monument of love, care, and service by Madiba himself. From the time he decided to establish the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund and to share from his own pocket a third of his salary to make the fund stand and mobilized all friends to support. Even he challenged them to match what it was his contribution to the Children's Fund. Without the Children's Fund, maybe we wouldn't have the Children's Hospital. So, as we honor Madiba today, we also honor the Children's Fund and the trust of the Children's Hospital, which I have the honor to serve. The Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital is a monument of excellence. From the detail of conception of what the hospital was supposed to be, from all the very careful planning which took place and the consultation of every single knowledge and expertise we could know of to bring together to make sure that this hospital is to be a special animal of its kind, as the minister said. But it's also a monument which reminds South Africa and Africa that excellence is possible. We have people with knowledge, with expertise, with dedication, with the ability to bring together the variety of expertise needed to have exactly the very best we can produce. And it is so, because when we say children's first, we really mean it. Children deserve the very best every society can provide. And Madiba said to us, any society will be judged according to the way it treats its children. And the Children's Hospital is exactly stating that. Children are to have in this hospital the very best we can. The trust has raised the standards for this country and for this continent. It has been proved that we can do it, and from now on, there are no excuse to give second-class and third-class treatment to children in need. When Madiba passed on, there were thousands, possibly even millions of pledges, where people were touched very deeply by his life, and they promised, Madiba, we are going to leave your legacy. We are going to make sure that your principles, the way you treated every single human being, we are going to emulate that, and we promise. The Children's Hospital is saying, yes, we promise to you, Madiba, and we promise to children, here we are, the hospital is here. It's extremely important to remind also our society that the promise to a child is scrupulously to be fulfilled. Never promise to a child what you are not sure you are going to deliver. And we made clear that the promise made by Madiba and charging us to implement will have to be exactly as his name deserves, as every single child in our continent deserves. This hospital is an expression of every child counts. Every child matters. It has been said here, any child in need of very specialized treatment, which the hospital is to provide, will be welcome, regardless of his or her status, regardless of the structure of the family the child comes from. So this hospital is also a reminder that we promise that this society is a society of equity, where there's no race, there's no gender, there's no rich and poor, there's no rural and urban. All people are equal. In this case, all children who need this treatment, it will be provided to them. It is a reminder that social justice is built and it's possible when there is dedication and there is a commitment to be very focused in making sure that you don't have only a building, but you have the values which are behind service, which are behind providing social justice. This hospital is also an expression of what collaboration can achieve. South Africans, Africans, and many people from around the world did contribute to make it happen. It means where there is a cause, there are no boundaries. We all can join. And of course, Madiba's name was a huge mobilizer for this immense goodwill we have had. But that's precisely what we promise, that his life is to inspire us to overcome all boundaries, to value the humanity which exists in every single human being, and in this case, especially the humanity which exists in every child. This hospital is also an expression of sharing. South Africa has built this hospital, but this hospital is to serve the whole region of SADC. The first step will be to bring pediatricians, specialized nurses, to be absolutely aligned and tuned with the fact that how do you treat a child who is sick? A child who is sick deserves an exceptional care, and everyone has to be exceptionally trained to be able to calm down, to build the empathy with a child so that a child will feel safe, a child will trust those who are treating. So the first step will be training specialists from the region. But our hope and dream is that those teams coming from different countries in SADC will be in permanent connection with this hospital, using the technologies and the telemedicine which is available, so that it doesn't matter whether it is in the most rural area of any of these SADC countries, as long as there is a trained pediatrician and a nurse who has been specialized, that treatment can get to those children. So we are very clear that this is much bigger than we can imagine in terms of where we have to go. But that is also the message of solidarity, which we learned from his life. There is no an issue of a child who is South African, or a child who is Malawian, or a child who is Zimbabwean. We adults, we fight around those things. Who is who? But the philosophy of this hospital is that every child, at least in this region, deserves access and quality. Not only access, but quality of treatment. I want to acknowledge Bongi in a very special way. She is really the heart of this initiative. She lives, Bongi has been for years living day and night to make this hospital a reality. All of us, we supported, but she is the one. And I want really from the bottom of my heart to say thank you, baby girl. Thank you. You did it. You did it. Of her team, I would like to mention Joe and Moss. I don't know where they are. I come to tears every time when we sit in those meetings of the trust to listen to them, the care in which they play, every single detail of how to prepare to make sure that the day the hospital opens, everything is absolutely in place. I've never seen this before. And I want really to acknowledge you and to thank you. From now on, I think even those who did not know, we have expertise here of building hospitals, particularly children's hospital in this team. I would like to acknowledge the campaign for Kids by Kids. One of the beautiful things which happened is to mobilize children to think and to participate in how to make that place, not a hospital, but a place where a child can feel, I'm a child. And whoever is going to walk into those walls will find they has those designs which are basically of South African culture. They were conceived by children. They sat down and they designed. So children themselves, they have made a significant mark, which was to teach us as adults how you should think of a hospital for kids. And I want to acknowledge them because that touch has led us to understand much better that whoever, as a child who is going to walk into that hospital, will see himself or herself as a child, even in pain. I want to acknowledge artists who took the initiative to paint and to bring, alive the hospital, the walls of hospital. It is as if you are in a garden. It is as if you are in a zoo where you can see animals, you can see plants, the beauty of nature was brought into the walls of the hospital precisely to make sure that children in pain, they will be comforted, but also they will, even when they go into the machine which is going to do the scan all around the children, all around the room, they are designs and paintings of nature, not to frighten a child. I think there's here a huge lesson. How minister, even with much less, maybe, concentration of expertise, how our pediatric ward should be changed. Even before we can have many more hospitals like this, we have a reference to begin to rethink and to change the way when a child goes to a pediatric ward has to be treated as a child. I would like also to acknowledge and thank the workers, those who built that hospital. They will never have a name. They will never have a name, put there as contributors to build that hospital. But brick by brick, it was an act of love for them to build the hospital. Wherever they are, we want to thank them for having given us that beauty which we have today. There's, of course, some of the donors which I have to acknowledge. It has been acknowledged already, but particularly those who trusted the idea of the hospital. When everything really, there are many people who thought it wouldn't happen. But there are few from the beginning who trusted that it would be possible to build the hospital. And they did allocate the resources. We heard here Eric, Samson, and Sheila, the Islamic Relief Worldwide, who supported the Oncology Center, the Elmer Foundation, the Kellogg's Foundations, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the National Skills Fund. Most importantly, it's not only to have everything built, it's the human touch, which is expected to be characterizing in that hospital, from those who clean to those who are security guards. Every single person is being trained to know this is a place for children. And I want to thank those who really gave us the opportunity to train the people and the teams we need. As I said, our story will be always linked to that of the Children's Fund and its mandate. And for this, I want to thank Justice Moseneke, who is the former chairperson of the fund, and also Justice Yvonne Mohoro, who is our current chair. I want really to also thank, from the bottom of my heart, our board members. Every single one of them volunteered knowledge, expertise, time, they mobilizing efforts and making sure that we will get the funds which we needed to build the hospital. Now, our task as a trust has simply reached the most important milestone, which is to have the building and equipment and the people trained. But we are quite aware that we need to continue to mobilize resources to build an endowment for the hospital. And we'll continue to work, and we'll continue to count on those who will be willing to walk the journey with us so that this hospital will never be in a situation where it cannot receive children because there are no resources to keep it working. And that is the task of the trust. And we would like to thank those who have contributed, but those who can continue to contribute, yes, will come and will continue to knock at your doors. The government of South Africa, and in this case, we'll say clearly, Minister Mtsoaledi, thank you so much. Thank you so much. First, for having understood the nature of this hospital. There were very many people who fought the idea of the hospital. It is a hospital for elite, it's a hospital which is going to draw specialized people from other places, etc., etc. Why should we? But the minister was very, very clear and from the onset has been a champion of the Children's Hospital. We hope you'll continue to mobilize your colleagues in that government to continue to support this initiative, knowing quite clearly that it's not only about the hospital which carries Nelson Mandela's name. It's about raising the bar. It's about having an example of what every pediatric ward, every single hospital for children should achieve. So it is for South Africa to have a model. It's for South Africa to have an example. So it is not that this is to be a hospital of elite. On the contrary, is to show where from the bottom all of us we have to go and what we have to achieve. I'd like also to, at this moment, to speak to Papa. You have been there, and we saw you beaming with joy because a milestone has been achieved for the hospital to be there. But thank you for the lessons. We wouldn't have really understood the depth of the task Madiba was giving us if it were not because of the deep way in which, Papa, we were in our lounge and Bongi and Ish were there. And you looked at the two of us, the two ladies, and you say, you know, we have to build that hospital. Madiba knew he was not going to build the hospital. He knew that he was giving us a lesson of how we have to continue to love, to care, and to be at service of children. So the lesson has remained. The lesson for us is that there is no compromise. It has to be the very best. That's the lesson you left with us, Papa, and we are going to try. And I'm saying we are going to try to be inspired by the way you always cared for every single child of this continent of ours, every single child in the world. And if there is a pledge which has been fulfilled, is the building of the hospital. And I want to remind all those who have made pledges, privately and publicly, who have made pledges to make Madiba's legacy live. Yes, you have an example. Take your part to make South Africa a society of social justice. Let South Africa become an example of, if we are to be judged what kind of society we are, let's look at the example this hospital is going to give us so that no children will continue to die unnecessarily in our hospitals. No children born will not thrive, while we do have the resources to give an opportunity to every single child to thrive in this country. No child should live in fear, being brutalized, violence against children. All of us, we are being told loving, caring, and being at service, it starts in the family, in the community, in institutions. And there's the lesson which was left to us. And from our side, Children's Fund, Children's Hospital, we promise you we'll try our best. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mama Grasa Michelle, a big round of applause. And a big thank you as well to Mama Nana Mahumula for those kind words as well. And now, ladies and gentlemen, as we head towards the final section of our proceedings, we'd like to now take a bit of time to reflect. And for this part of the program, I would like to invite onto the stage our legendary choir, Imilonchi Kantu, and the representatives from the various religious organizations. And to lead us in this moment of reflection, please join me and let's welcome the chairperson of the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, Justice Yvonne Mokoro.
Good afternoon, everybody. Meg Rasha, my sister, as I usually call you, Minister, Mukwena, former Deputy Chief Justice, Dikgang Moseneke, all the religious leaders present here today, all the trustees of both the Hospital Trust and the Children's Fund, all the VIPs and VVIPs, if there are such things. But thank you for your presence here. The chairperson of the Hospital Trust, the deputy chairperson, everybody. You know, the first commitment or the first sign of the commitment that all of us in this room have is our presence here. The commitment that we have towards this hospital. It used to be a hospital project of the Children's Fund. We no longer call it a hospital project. It is a hospital. And Membeki, thanks for coming. You know, when I drove into the premises this morning, I was a little emotional. No, I was emotional. And I guess those who know me would say, so what's new? But I felt somewhat like a parent who has to let go when a child comes of age. Although knowing very well that this child, independent, doing very well, and will continue to do well, like a parent in that position, also knew that, and I know the child will always remain in your pocket. And I say that because all of us together, with the commitment that we have displayed and that we have, with the passion that we regard this hospital, will ensure that it sustains. You know, Professor Habib reminded us of Madiba's prized words that it always seems impossible until it is done. And that's what this hospital, when it was a project, seemed. It was an idea, became a thought, became a concept, was deliberated upon, debated, argued about. There were doubts from a lot of quarters, except those people who knew it deep down in their hearts that it always seems impossible until it is done, and they got to do it. Bongi, thank you for believing in the idea. Thank you for believing in Madiba's dream. You, Meg Grasha, and all the people who rallied around you. When I came to the Children's Fund, after my esteemed colleague, Moseneke, had led it for more than 16 years, about 16 years, isn't it? I felt that those are gigantic shoes to fill. I came at a point when the hospital project was already up and running as a reality for the future. And as Bongi was inducting me into the Children's Fund family and the vision and the mission, she brought home to me the notion that we, as the world, not just as South Africans, must change the way we treat children. And this hospital epitomizes just that idea. Minister, you said, we need the specialist children's hospital because children, as Bongi also likes to say sometimes, are not little adults. They are children. And probably that is why our Constitution protects children's rights. Because children have a right to be children. And we must treat them as children, treat our little girls as children and not little women. Treat our little boys as little boys, children and not little men. It is so important in the context of what the minister has done this morning, giving us such a rude awakening of the paucity or the lack of access to health care, generally, but for children in particular. It is no wonder then that this hospital had to be a reality. But then you know what? We have reached a milestone, and it is only a milestone, seeing the hospital standing here in our faces. A hospital which has been born of real passion. You only have to look at the facility and see what it offers. And as you said, Bongi, as we will fix those little hearts of Southern Africa's children, we must always be reminded of Madiba's prized words. To make it a true reality, it is all in your hands. It is all in your hands. This hospital must thrive and it must serve the purposes that it has been conceived for, created for, built for, become a reality for. And I can almost hear the heartbeats of each and every one of you saying to Madiba, Tata, we will not let you down. And as we are reminded by Tata's words, can I call all religious leaders to the podium to do what we all hope that they will do for us? Connect us with Tata at a spiritual level and say thanks in the way only they know how. Can they kindly come to the podium? The religious leaders who have been assigned to do what they needed to do.
Ma'am, while our leaders make their way to the stage, would you mind if I ask that we release the doves as well as a part of
the ceremony?
the acknowledgement? Thank you.
Let us pray. Lord, we have danced, we have listened to music, we have listened to speeches encouraging us. We have heard reflections on this, the eve of Madiba's year's mind. We thank you for reminding us to believe in the power of one and never to underestimate it. We thank you for reminding us to give more and to be more. We thank you. We thank you that through the hard work of benefactors and trustees and many more, you have transformed a stadium into a first-class hospital. We pray that as South Africans, we too may be transformed to give more and to be more. And as we give thanks and dedicate this hospital and in thanksgiving to all those that have played their part, we say, may the road rise to take this hospital to its furthest height. May the sunshine continue to illuminate and may the showers of quality, of success characterize it until all of us give more and South Africa becomes more. These prayers we offer in the name of Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen.
I would like to invite our other religious leaders who are joining us this afternoon. If I may please ask Reverend Molo to please come to the stage. Reverend Shona, Reverend Mpulwana as well, Reverend Makoba, Reverend Nelisilwe, and Baba Mkonto to please come to the stage, and let's give them a big round of applause. In the meantime, I'll ask our legendary choir to please render us an item.
We will do our concluding prayers. So God, we are here now and we know that there's no turning back. The star has shown the way forward. And we place ourselves not only as gifts to what has happened today, but indeed as salt that is going to be used as a way to enrich the lives of many a child who will enter this place. We truly know that when we gather like this, dear God, the life of one lived magnificently becomes the illuminating light that takes us to the next challenges of our journey. As we conclude this, make us and remind us again and again that at best is when we serve. Remind us again and again, dear God, in these moments where we are looking for leadership that transcends our own selfish interests, that we can always transcend the difficulties of this moment. And through this monument given to us, we can all draw inspiration and make this, our world, our country, and our continent, a place of renewal, a place of new dreams, and indeed, a place of transformative presence. May we who gather here spend ourselves for the sake of those who might need your love and your light in the world. Through Christ our Lord. Nkosi sikelele Afrika. Indeed, uphakamisa uphondo lwayo. Sonke thina silapha kulomhle masibe ngamanqina ndoba ukhokho waphila phakathi kwethu wangumzekelo wakhanyisa wasibonisa xa kumnyama bamasibambelele kuphi. Modimo wa rona re sike ra tswa mo tseleng re tsamaye tsela ya gage ka tumelo le boikokobetso. Modimo wa rona amogela tsotlhe tse le ne le le matla la morena le mothusi wa rona Jesu Kriste. Amen.
Thank you so much to our religious leaders. Thank you so much. Thank you to our incredible choir as well. I'd also like to thank all of our leaders who are joining us this afternoon. And I've been asked to acknowledge Mama Zanele Mbeki, who's with us this afternoon. If we could just give her a big round of applause. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as we end today's program, I'd like to invite Mrs. Grasa Michelle once again back onto the stage, as well as Minister Aaron Mutsueleri to come and join me, accompanied by some of our children ambassadors for the unveiling of the plaque that will be in the hospital. And while they make their way up, looking smart in uniform, I like these young folks, accompany them, we'll have our incredible choir, the legendary Imilon Chikantu. And together we will count down for the unveiling of the plaque.
Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela. Oh Mandela. Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela. Oh Mandela. When I'm a teen, when I'm a teen, Nelson Mandela.
congratulations is in order for the successful launch of the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital. Thank you all so much. Another round of applause, please.
This plaque was unveiled on Friday, 2 December 2016, by Ms. Graça Michelle and the Minister of Health, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, at the launch of the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital. We celebrate Nelson Mandela's legacy and all those who have given so that we can heal our children and give hope to the future leaders of this continent.
Wonderful. Thank you so much to our young ambassadors. Thank you so much, Mama Graça Michelle. Thank you so much, Mr. Minister, and incredible choir. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite all our performers onto the stage to come and join in this collaboratory performance. Ladies and gentlemen, partners, donors, friends, on behalf of Ms. Graça Michelle and the entire Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital Trust family, I'd like to say thank you all so much for joining us today. If I can ask my good friend Kolisile to come onto the stage, Voter Kellerman to come and join us as well, Trejor to make his way back onto the stage, and of course the Vuyani Dance Theatre to come back up. The Parktown Girls have already joined us. Of course, our legendary choir remains in place, inviting also the Vuyani Outreach Kids to come onto the stage. that festive note, we wish to conclude the program and say thank you all so much for joining us. You're welcome to collect your gourmet food hamper at the food and beverage counter. Otherwise, this has been an absolute privilege. Have a fantastic afternoon further, and God bless.
Oh, sorry.
You don't actually have to do this one here.
Ah, sí.
It's on top of the.
Like which one? Like
This is not for today's story. So it can even be shared. That's fine.
let's be this side.
Okay.
Yeah. This is just an interview, no?
Yes, it's a straight interview for Mike.
Yeah.
Just one. I don't know how to refer to you. Which one? What do I say? Why do people struggle? You call me by my name. We used to say my name. I don't know what to say. I'm just in here. Everybody's what should we call you? We call me by my name. Yeah, that's actually very a good question. Okay. What do I say to lead into the question? Are you rolling?
Wait. I'm not rolling yet.
I was going to help from what we were doing yesterday because I think that's how the questions are related to President of the South African Local Government. Okay. Should I say Mr. President? It's very tricky. It's very tricky. Are you rolling?
Wait. Okay, and yeah, we're rolling.
Mr. Tao, let's stick to Mr. Tao. You've been quoted in the Times today saying that you believe that the historical data should be maintained. If this is correct, we'd like to understand the logic behind that, reaching that thinking or what the force behind that suggestion.
Well, firstly, the conference of the South African Local Government Association looked at the long-term sustainability for municipalities and looked at it both from a credit and debt point of view. And we said that we require an incentivized system of writing of debt, and that would require particular legislation to enable such incentives to be put in place so that we are able to overcome the recurring problem of our municipalities having grown to this place.
And again, municipalities are reportedly owed 190 million at a time when government actually needs this kind of money in its pockets. For lack of a better word, does it make sense for this kind of amount of money to go to?